This is day 66 in the Hamas-Israel war, and the IDF has completed its takeover of Palestine Square in the Gaza Strip. I'm Yair Pinto, reporting to you from Israel. The IDF spokesperson's unit announced that IDF forces have completed the takeover of Palestine Square in the Gaza Strip. This square includes governmental buildings of Hamas and a vast underground terror tunnel that reached all the way to the Shifa Medical Center. The IDF is focusing its attention in the southern part of the Gaza Strip, in the area of Kad el-Bad and Khan Yunis, and the Israeli Air Force is investing efforts to locate and target Hamas terrorists and installations in these areas. It appears as if these locations have a strategic value for Hamas because its terrorists are fighting hard against the Israeli troops in trying to hold their grounds. After 24 hours of intense fightings, the IDF was able to knock down a main communication route of Hamas. This caused Hamas's terrorists to give up on multiple locations and surrender to the Israeli troops. It appears as if Hamas is concerned about the morale of its terrorists in the Gaza Strip because it sees so many of them surrendering to Israel. And for the first time since the 23rd of November, Abu Abeida, a Hamas official, issued a statement praising the Hamas organization for its military achievements against the IDF in the past 65 days since the war started. He also stated that Israel failed in its attempts to release the Israeli hostages and failed in the ceasefire. He made it clear that this statement was made in recent days by stating the day of the war and mentioning the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. This is another lie that Hamas is telling, this time to its own terrorists. It's a pathetic attempt to thwart the reality on the ground. Israel is controlling the majority of the northern part of Gaza, and more Hamas terrorists are surrendering every day. The remaining terrorists are hiding in underground terror complex without any ability to connect to the outside world. And this is the future for the southern part of Gaza and for Hamas there. The fighting against Hamas terrorists in Beit Lahia, which is another huge terror hub of this organization, is close to an end as Hamas terrorists are running out of ammunition and weapons, and many of them are surrendering. But the IDF still is on high alert because Hamas terrorists can still pop out of underground terror locations and hiding positions. In the neighborhood of Kube, south of Gaza, the IDF is engaged in fierce battles against Hamas terrorists that are fresh because the IDF has not conducted operations in that area until now. The IDF has been working hard in dividing the Gaza Strip into strips of land, separating the terrorists from each other. After the IDF is defeating Hamas in one area, it is mobilizing its troops to carry out an attack against Hamas terrorists in another location. That's why, in the battle against the area of Jabalia, the IDF was able to bring additional forces from the area of Beit Lahia in order to conduct a joint operation to neutralize Hamas terrorists in that location. As Hamas is withdrawing its forces from areas it cannot hold anymore, it is always encountered by other IDF units. In Jabalia, Hamas terrorists withdrew and were quickly engaged by tank units from the coast of Gaza. The IDF is stationed throughout the entire Gaza Strip, and any attempt by Hamas terrorists to escape to the south is met by additional IDF forces. In the southern part of Gaza, according to reports, thousands of Hamas terrorists are still hiding underground in underground terror positions and pop out in order to carry out attacks against the IDF troops. The battle in the south is gonna be hard, and it already is taking lives on the Israeli sides as more and more IDF troops are losing their lives in this war against Hamas, and the majority of them are between the ages of 18 to 21. But the IDF is not giving up, and their sacrifice is not for vain, because we are not stopping until we will destroy Hamas and return our hostages. In Israel's northern border, in the battle against Hezbollah, the Israeli Air Force, according to reports, conducted aerial strikes that targeted Hezbollah positions in Syria. The Syrian Defense Ministry stated that its aerial defense systems were able to neutralize the attacks, but that severe damage was caused to the infrastructure. The report further stated that the strikes targeted Hezbollah and Iranian militias that were located next to the Damascus International Airport in Syria. According to Lebanese reports, UNIFIL delivered a message on behalf of Israel to Hezbollah, stating that Israel sees any target 3 kilometers from its border with Lebanon as a legitimate target. Hezbollah responded by stating that if Israel will implement this new directive, Hezbollah will do the same on the Israeli side. The situation on Israel's northern front is very fragile, and Hezbollah and the IDF are on high alert because it appears as if both sides do not want to escalate into a full-on war, but any wrong move can lead to another escalation. The IDF spokesperson's unit released a recording of Yusuf El-Mansri, Hamas's communications minister in the Gaza Strip, during his investigation in Israel. He stated that Hamas is destroying the Gaza Strip and taking it back 200 years. He also said that the people in Hamas are crazy and that they are following Yahya Sinwar. Yusuf stated that people in the Gaza Strip do not like Yahya Sinwar and that Hamas is responsible for the destruction of 60% of the infrastructure and buildings in the Gaza Strip. When asked about Yahya Sinwar, Hamas's leader, he stated that nobody in Gaza likes him and that he only likes himself and takes actions without consulting with anyone. Hamas is a terror organization that does not care about the well-being of its own people or the future of the Gaza Strip. This is the truth. I know that if you're not here in Israel, it's very hard to understand the reality, mainly because the international media is not telling the truth about what's going on and does not share the full picture. And that's why I need your help. I need your help in sharing what is happening in Israel. And if you have questions, please research, ask people. I'm not afraid of the truth because I know that I am fighting a righteous war against the terror organization. And I stand by the army and the values that I grew up on in Israel. So please join me in prayer and happy Hanukkah from Israel.